local all morning. The Fox 61 Morning News starts now.
Right now at 6 o'clock, more armed guards. That's what one local Board of Ed decided last night. The reaction to that decision and where it happened ahead.
Request denied for conspiracy theorist Alex Jones, what a judge just decided on his defamation lawsuit here in Connecticut.
And putting pen to paper, President Biden expected to sign the Inflation Reduction Act. What the bill will mean for major corporations and the fight against climate change.
Good morning, sunshine. Thank you for waking up with us here on Fox 61 at 6. I'm Symphony Privet.
And I'm Keith McGilvery. Great to have you with us. As we get started, we want to take a look at how the morning is progressing. This a live shot this morning in Hartford along the water. A beautiful spot. They have done so much work to beautify this space. I'm trying to see if I see anyone out on the water rowing just yet.
Maybe it's a little too early for that.
Oh, no, the folks at the boathouse, they are out
no,
and
this is the time to do it,
They are
right.
out and about indeed. I just don't see them just yet. Matt Scott walking to work today.
No, I did not. I drove.
Well, I did. It felt like a fall morning.
Sorry, I missed that. I was walking to where it's a long drive.
It felt like a fall morning out
Didn't
there.
it?
It's a nice walk in.
It felt very
Yeah.
crisp out there, which is nice. And if you are taking your boat out this morning, you've got pretty still waters. Now, the winds are going to be picking up, so sailboaters. Yeah, maybe a little choppy out on the sound, but it might be a nice ride for you, at least for the first part of the day, which will start with a lot of sunshine. We'll add some clouds later in the day. The rain that we've been watching, a very impressive nor'easter. It's a miss, unfortunately. May get a drip or two tomorrow morning, and that will be it. Humidity and heat, they're on hold now. They're back by the weekend. 60 in Hartford, our lucky 61 in New Haven, 60 again in Groton. Many of you in the 50s, that's where the dew points are. Very comfortable this morning. Not a lick of rain out there now, but we've got that northeasterly wind that's starting to kick in. And look down to the south and east of us. There's an impressive low that's getting more impressive, and that is going to translate into a lot of rain, just not for us. Temperatures getting into the low 80s. I mentioned some clouds in the afternoon. There they are. And then overnight tonight, a slight chance of rain. Gosh, we need that rain. Talk about it, see if there's any more in the 7-day. Come on back for that in a few minutes. Come on to your TV, close up and personal. Lauren Zenzi standing by waiting for you with a look at traffic. Good morning.
Good morning, Matt. Good morning, everyone. 6:02 here, almost 6:03 in the CTDOT Traffic Center. No incidents to report out on the roads as of right now. Lots of construction has wrapped up for the morning, so the morning commute isn't looking too bad. Let's bring you right out into the Hartford area. We do see some slight delays on the northbound side of I-91. A little bit. New Britain Ave to the Hartford Tunnel will take you an extra couple of minutes just due to some moderate congestion. But overall, things are moving smoothly now the construction has cleared for the morning. Weathersfield, I-91 north and southbound, looking good for our morning commuters right now. Waterbury looking interesting, but I tell you, it is clear. Construction has cleared for the morning. As we take a look at our Fairfield County drive times, 95 north and southbound looking good. Route 15 looking great as of right now for our morning commute. Fairfield and New Haven, I-95 moving smoothly. We'll check in again coming up in the next half hour, guys.
Thank you, Lauren. At 6:03 now, another Connecticut school board has voted to add armed security guards to all schools in their district.
So we're talking about East Hampton, the public schools here making that decision, coming down last night. Fox 61's Julia Blanc joining us now live to explain kind of the details behind the move. Julia, good morning.
Hi, good morning to you. Yeah, East Hampton High School already has an armed guard at their school right now. They have since 2019, but this vote coming last night from the board expands that now to their middle and elementary schools as well. Now, it was a unanimous decision by the East Hampton School Board. They say they want armed guards now at Memorial Center and East Hampton Middle Schools. It's a similar decision to at least a handful of other Connecticut school districts also upping their police presence in the wake of the Uvalde, Texas shooting. Now, the vote coming after a public meeting where the superintendent shared a recent survey which shows that 81% of parents and 73% of staff in the town support adding armed guards. Now, at that meeting, parents got to express their support and their concerns with adding more guns into the mix.
And I don't mean to be crude, but one armed security guard with a pistol cannot outgun somebody coming in with a death wish and a much higher gun power
If the fact that we have an armed guard keeps one person from either thinking of coming in or stops one who is planning on coming in, the money was well spent.
Now, this year's budget is already set in stone, so now the board has to ask the town for this money. The price tag, you might ask, is $150,000. So we'll, of course, be following that to see if the town follows through with that funding. We are live in East Hampton. Julia LeBlanc, Fox 61 News.
All right. Our thanks to Julia for that. A reminder, you can let us know what you think of that decision right now across our Fox 61 social media platforms. We will see you again at 7 o'clock. All right, just about 6 past the hour, a federal bankruptcy judge paving the way for the defamation lawsuit against conspiracy theorist Alex Jones to continue in Connecticut. Jones and his legal team wanted to transfer the case to a federal bankruptcy court rather than continue the case in Connecticut state court. The lawsuit, one of several filed against Jones by families who lost loved ones in the 2012 Sandy Hook tragedy. Jones repeatedly calling the tragedy a hoax on his show. The ruling allowing the suit to continue against Jones as an individual without a company owned by him. A federal judge rejecting a request by former Waterbury Mayor Philip Giordano to be released from prison on child sex charges. Back in 2003, Giordano was convicted of repeatedly abusing the daughter and his niece of his then-girlfriend. Giordano was sentenced to 37 years in prison. He requested compassionate release, citing in-health threats due to COVID-19. A judge determining Giordano never fully accepted responsibility for his behavior and denied the request for early release.
A Navy technician accused of killing his wife and setting their New London home on fire with their son inside pleaded not guilty to the charges. 23-year-old George Dodson II had his probable cause hearing waived Monday. Dodson was charged with murder and arson after last month's fire. According to the arrest warrant, Dodson reportedly told police he had killed his wife because he was jealous after establishing an open relationship. Dodson is due back in court October 3rd. Well, 2 lives lost to gun violence continue to hang over Waterbury, both happening less than 24 hours after each other. A 44-year-old Ramon Rodriguez of Waterbury, who already had 5 pending court cases, is in jail on a $2 million bond this morning. Now, he's accused of killing Dennis Santos, the owner of Salsa Tropical Social Club, in the parking lot late Saturday night.
Customer came in, spotted an ex-girlfriend of his with someone else. Got very emotional. The owner tried to console. The individual pulled out a gun and shot him.
And I just want to let everybody know that he's a very good guy. He might make a mistake, but he's a very good guy.
Police found Rodriguez and his current girlfriend, who sped from the scene a short time later. On Friday night, Michael Anderson, the owner of Mikey's Jamaican restaurant, was charged with murder. He's accused of shooting and killing 28-year-old Sebastian Olivaria. The mayor says this dispute started over a parking spot. Anderson was supposed to be arraigned Monday, but he's currently in the hospital.
Happening today, U.S. Labor Secretary Marty Walsh expected to pay a visit to Connecticut. He'll join Governor Ned Lamont and Congressman Joe Courtney at Grasso Tech High in Groton, where they're expected to announce a new initiative for Career Connect. That's the new program, a state program to help workers whose careers were hurt by the pandemic. And happening today in Washington, President Biden expected to sign the Inflation Reduction Act into law. Now, you may remember the bill passed in both chambers along party lines last week after months of negotiations here. The White House says the bill aims to lower prescription drug costs, lower energy costs, and address the climate crisis. So what's in the bill, you might be asking? Let's take a look. It includes nearly $370 billion in climate and energy investments. It would also lower Medicare drug costs by capping out of-pocket expenses at $2,000 a month. It's estimated to cut the deficit by $300 billion. It would require large corporations with $1 billion worth of revenue a year to pay a 15% minimum tax and increase funding to the IRS for enforcement efforts and modernizing systems such as creating a new direct e-file tax return system.
And within the newly passed bill is a new 1% excise tax on companies purchasing their own shares, also known as stock buybacks. Now, it's a common practice that companies use to return cash to their investors while increasing their stock prices. Proponents of this tax hope it'll make large corporations consider using that money to increase wages or invest in their business. The new tax would apply for any buybacks happening after January 1st of 2023. The Inflation Reduction Act will also extend the $7,500 electric vehicle federal tax credit for purchasing a new clean vehicle for the next decade. It'll also include a new $4,000 tax credit for purchasing a used EV, but there are some new requirements to qualify. Listen to this. They include income limits, a new price cap on eligible vehicles, and the electric vehicles must be manufactured here in North America. And before Congress voted on that Inflation Reduction Act, an Associated Press NORC poll taken back in June found that a majority of U.S. adults think the government and corporations have a responsibility to address climate change. Only 35% of U.S. adults are either extremely or very concerned about the impacts climate change will have on their lives. And that's down from 44% in August of 2019. And around half polled say their actions have an impact on climate change, compared to in 2019 when 2/3 surveyed said their actions did have an impact.